At partition, the Muslim businessmen of Bombay were invited by the Quaid-e-Azam to participate in the task of nation building in the new homeland. Mr. M.A. Rangoonwala, then an eminent businessman and social worker in Bombay, was among those who accepted the invitation. Mr. Rangoonwala took up the challenge and built up another successful business in Karachi. He remained conscious of the needs of the less fortunate and continued his services for the cause. In 1967, to institutionalize the work, he established a trust for the uplift and development of those in need.
If you see Karachi's history also, you see that there was a big philanthropic tradition. And it was so also in Bombay, and it was in many other parts of the world, so it wasn't just unique to Karachi. And he decided to make a trust. It was called in the memory of his mother and his father.
The ZVMG Rangoonwala Trust was set up with a simple objective: service to humanity. Over time, it has worked to fulfill this objective in a number of ways.
The Rangoonwala Trust symbolizes that whole generation of generous, philanthropic Mehman families who really established Pakistan, who invested in this country, and who, as they grew, as they became successful, gave back to the country. And they made schools, they made hospitals, they made colleges, and I think the Rangoonwala Trust has made a huge commitment towards education.
About VMPS, I would like to say that we admit and teach those students who come from very poor families. We pay their fees, rather scholarships, to them, not only to study in our school, but if they are promising students and they are going for higher studies, we assist them there too, whether in our country or they are going abroad.
He wanted to do it because he likes the people that are down to earth. And he also brought out a school for that children. Today that school is doing very well.
The Trust is committed to the cause of education and to the welfare of the younger generation. The VM Public School was set up in 1963 by the founder of the Trust with the objective of providing quality education at an affordable cost.
VM Public School was established in 1963. It's one of the oldest schools of Karachi. In spite of the low fee, 50% of the students have been given scholarships because they cannot even afford to pay the little that we charge. So this was the trustees' motive, that good education for the economically disadvantaged. And we are succeeding because the results of our metric show that now we have got 100% result. VM Public is a co-ed school. That is one great step because the community is orthodox, and yet they have allowed the daughters to study in a co-ed school, which is a very forward-looking step that they have taken. And I think the girl students benefit by studying in a co-ed because they are much more confident and they can face society with much more confidence later in life.
one of the things he felt most important was the education of women, and especially the ability for the women to earn a supplementary household income.
In the community center, in the education program, we had 8,000 students in 1994 and we were offering 25 courses. But now we are offering more than 100 courses and the number of students is 16,000 per annum. I think it's doing well.
He had a great sentiment for the women in his community because he felt that they were really deprived and that they were really good, but they were deprived that opportunity for education. And I think that was a driving thrust. No question about it, definitely.
The ZVMG Rangoonwala Community Centre offers over 100 courses in vocational education. New courses are added on to respond to the changing needs of the time. And the good work reaches out.
Every year, we arrange a 2-day exhibition for the students of our education program. These students and their works are picked up by their teachers. All the expenses for the exhibition are borne by the trust, whereas whatever is sold, that the money goes to the girls. But we see that whatever we are selling in the exhibition is of good quality.
सबसे बड़ा तो सेंटर का हाथ था कि इन्होंने हमें बैठने के लिए जगह दी, हमें लोगों के सामने लेकर आए, हमें इंट्रोड्यूस करवाया। यहाँ हर साल एग्जीबिशन होती है तो उसमें हर जगह के मतलब पूरी कराची से देखें लोग आते हैं तो वो हमारे काम को देखते हैं। इस तरह सबसे बड़ा हाथ जो है वो सेंटर का है कि अगर हमारे पास ये जगह ना होती, एक नाम नहीं होता ना, तो हम जाहिर है कि हम इस पोजीशन में तो थे नहीं कि हम अपने बिजनेस के लिए कोई शॉप लेते।
बाजार से भी जैसे कम कीमत में भी होता है और हम लोग कस्टमर आते हैं तो बोलते हैं आपका थोड़ा जैसे हटके है, बाजार से चीज़ हटके है, यहाँ हाथ का काम है, हैंडमेड है। और मगर ये कि हमारा मेयार ऐसा होता है, हम लोग इनको खुद बोलते हैं कि आप ले जाओ, अगर धो के भी ख़राब हो जाए तो हम हमारे पास लेके आना, हम लोग आपको पैसे देंगे। मगर ये कि ऐसा कभी हुआ नहीं है, शिकायत नहीं है कभी। बहुत अच्छे जैसे एतमाद करते हैं। रंगूनवाला का नाम एक एतमाद है कि हम लोग वहाँ से लेंगे तो हमें कोई नुकसान नहीं होगा, चीज़ भी अच्छी मिलेगी और मयार भी अच्छा होगा कि चीज़ ख़राब नहीं होती। और ये इन लोग की बहुत बड़ी नेकी है और ये बहुत बड़ा इनका काम है कि ये लोग इतने घरों की रोटी रोज़ी चल रही है, ये भी बहुत बड़ी बात है इनके लिए। बस दुआ है हमारी इनके लिए और अल्लाह पाक बहुत बड़ी नेकी है।
हमारा तो ये जैसे कि दूसरा घर है, रंगूनवाला हमारा दूसरा घर है। तो यहाँ अगर हम सुबह से आते हैं शाम तक होते हैं तो हमें कोई वो नहीं होते, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, कोई वो नहीं है, क्योंकि हमारे स्टाफ भी बहुत अच्छा है। रंगूनवाला का माहौल ऐसा है कि हर एक अपनी लड़कियों को यहाँ पे इस तरह छोड़ सकता है जैसे कि वो अपने घर पे छोड़ रहे हैं। तो माहौल बहुत ही अच्छा है यहाँ का।
मैंने यहीं से मतलब कोर्स किया था, लेकिन मेरा बैकग्राउंड जो था वो पंजाब से, जहाँ बहुत सख्त पर्दा और बाहर निकलना बहुत मुश्किल था, परमिशन बहुत मुश्किल से मिलती थी। लेकिन मेरे घर के ऐसे हालात हुए कि मुझे निकलना पड़ा। तो मैंने यही मिस माजिदा से जब कोर्स किया तो इन्होंने मुझे यहाँ पर और मिस फिरदौस और इन लोगों ने मुझे यहाँ पर खड़े होने का हौसला दिया और मैं यहाँ खड़ी हुई हूँ। और अब अल्लाह का शुक्र है कि मैं अपने घर को सपोर्ट कर रही हूँ और सारा मैं अपना ही खुद ही कर रही हूँ क्योंकि मैं और सिर्फ मेरी वालदा हैं और मैंने यहीं मतलब सारा कोर्स भी यहीं किया और यहीं मैंने सारा कुछ किया है और मुझे मतलब इतना कॉन्फिडेंस मिला है कि मुझे यहाँ पर आके और काम करके कि मैं अपने घर खुद चला रही हूँ आज.
It initially is primarily, it's a training school for women, for girls, and a lot of the people who come to us afterwards for admissions at the, in art colleges and so on, they have often had their initial classes and inspiration at Rangoonwala. It's low cost, it's accessible to all, and I think they've done a very huge service, even if you just take it at that level. But many years ago, they actually took it one step further and they established the VM Art Gallery, which was a very modest-sized gallery. It had, I think, a very, very important role to play because they were not doing it for commercial gain. It was really an opportunity and a site in which people who don't normally have opportunity to show their work. So it became known as the first stop for a lot of new artists, for a lot of younger artists, graduating artists, who subsequently became very well known. So you could say that they launched a lot of successful artists.
The role of the artist has to keep on working and working with more brilliant ideas every time. I mean, he has to take the extent of what his imagery is. And the galleries have to look for these things. Look for the real artists who are working, or whether I won't even say if he is a graduate or not, but if he is doing something good, that should be exposed. He should be given a chance to do it.
In Karachi as well and Lahore, most of the galleries are like shops, and VM is I think is the only gallery which is the space is like a blank canvas. One can paint anything. Like this is such a great place to do any site specific. You can make installation, do any conceptual work, or even you can show very conventional market kind of product as well. So I think that is to me that is a true definition of the gallery. I met with people, I've seen work over here, and they don't go with your CV. They go with your work, and especially encourage people who wants to do experimental something which needs a space.
They have the lowest commission anywhere in Pakistan, and I think that they have it's almost like a public art space. It's what things like the arts councils in other countries actually fulfill this role. But they have taken this mantle onto themselves and they're doing it very successfully. And I think it's rare to have a place that's actually so generous with their space, with their time and with their support.
The VM Art Gallery has a mandate that extends beyond the workings of a commercial gallery. It holds lectures and seminars and has brought the work of major international artists to Pakistan. To preserve the work of senior artists for future generations, the gallery is acquiring a permanent collection.
There were certain problems which were occurring in the schools, which we never knew about that thing. The thesis program, when they're appearing for the thesis exam, there wasn't any support for them, and there's a lot of spending on the final year. No? So we all persuaded that you people should start giving a scholarship of about 50,000 rupees or something to the final years.
The Arts Committee has actually supported the giving of grants to graduating students in their last semester across all the art schools. I think there are 3 or 4 degree awarding art schools, including Karachi School of Art, which is a diploma, but nevertheless is a very significant art school. And an amount of 50,000 is earned by a student of outstanding abilities who are sifted through and interviewed by them. So it's really, the idea is not just to support the needy, but to give them a platform after they graduate so that they have a little bit of breathing space so they can continue to produce work. So it's like picking out promising young people and supporting them through that difficult time when they leave the comfort of the art school and go out into a professional life.
The Rangoonwala Center has a fully equipped auditorium capable of serving a multitude of needs. A well-stocked library and reading room is a resource well utilized by students. Health issues are another major concern. The Zulekha Bai Mother and Child Care Center provides assistance to mothers and children.
In the Mother and Child Care Center, we charge from rupees 5 to rupees 50. Anybody can come. Those who cannot afford to pay this much also, they can pay anything. 2 rupees, 3 rupees or 5 rupees, whatever they can pay.
There's the also, I think, health consciousness in terms of rehabilitation, like the Bhanubai Physiotherapy Center is a new addition, which my mother, Mrs. Rangoonwala, had taken. It's really her initiative.
Besides its own activities, the Trust also shares in and supports the efforts of other institutions.
उन्होंने पूछा मुझसे कि ये लेबॉर्ट्री जो है आपके पास लेबॉर्ट्री होगी? मैंने कहा जी होगी। उन्होंने कहा ये हॉस्पिटल फ्री चलेगा, यहाँ सारे टेस्ट फ्री होंगे? मैंने कहा होंगे। तो उन्होंने कहा मेरे वालिद साहब जब बीमार होते थे, कभी कोई टेस्ट कराने जाते थे तो टेस्टों में 2000-4000 जब खर्च होते थे तो हमेशा उनसे ये होता था कि मैं तो अफोर्ड कर लेता हूँ, लेकिन ये गरीब लोग क्या करते होंगे। तो उनकी ख्वाहिश थी कि कोई ऐसी एक लेबॉर्ट्री बनाई जाए जहाँ पर टेस्ट सारे फ्री हो सकें। तो उन्होंने कहा फिर हम आपके साथ ताउन करेंगे, आप हमें बता दीजिए कितना है। तो हमने फिर इसकी फिजिबिलिटी बनाई, उसकी जो कॉस्टिंग निकाली। टोटल 9 करोड़ रुपए का ये अप्रूवल उन्होंने किया कि उस लेबॉर्ट्री को बनाएंगे। अभी फ़ेज़ 1 में 4.25 करोड़ रुपए उन्होंने डोनेट कर चुके हैं और बाकी 5 करोड़ का इन्वेस्ट अभी अप्रूवल उनके पास पड़ा हुआ है। जैसे ही हम इसको एक्सपेंड करते रहेंगे वहाँ से ये पैसे आते रहेंगे। तो ये एक बहुत बड़ा हमारा कंट्रीब्यूशन उनकी तरफ से है और इसमें मेरे ख्याल में 15-20 मिनट लगे थे सारे फैसले करने में। और इस वक्त हमारे पास जो टीबी की जो लैब है, BSL 3 लैब है, बायो सेफ्टी लेवल 3 लैब है, जो कि WHO अप्रूव्ड पहली लैब है पाकिस्तान की। इस लेबॉर्ट्री की वजह से एक और चीज़ जो BSL 3 लैब बनी ना, उसकी वजह से जो मल्टी ड्रग रेजिस्टेंट टीबी जो कि फर्स्ट लाइन ड्रग्स को रेजिस्टेंट होती है, उसके लिए WHO से कभी भी फंडिंग पाकिस्तान में नहीं आई क्योंकि GLC अप्रूव लैब ही नहीं थी। जब ये लैब बन गई तो इसकी वजह से इस मुल्क में पाकिस्तान में GLC अप्रूव MDR TB WHO ग्लोबल फंड से उसकी फंडिंग अप्रूवल हुई है। एक हमने 9 करोड़ रुपये लगाया, समझें कि अराउंड $1.25 मिलियन लगाया जब पूरी लैब बन जाएगी, और हमने इसकी वजह से $170 मिलियन का पाकिस्तान को एक फंडिंग आई है। इसका ये एक बहुत बड़ा इम्पैक्ट है इस चीज़ का। देखें ना कि $1 मिलियन से हम $170 मिलियन को इस मुल्क में ला सके एक ऐसे मर्ज़ के लिए जिसमें लोग मर जाते हैं बगैर ट्रीटमेंट के।
And the support can have an impact that reaches far beyond the initial investment. The project establishes a role model that others can follow. Another initiative was the setting up of the burns ICU at Civil Hospital.
Actually, the idea was कि इन जले हुए मरीजों को बेहतरीन इलाज मिल सके बगैर किसी खर्च के, उनसे बगैर कोई पैसा चार्ज किए। रंगूनवाला ट्रस्ट ने हमारा ये ओन किया और ICU जो है उन्हीं की कर्टसी से बनाया है, जो उन्हीं के नाम पे हमने डेडिकेट किया है, उसकी प्लेट लगी हुई है।
The trust is professionally managed by a board of trustees and an executive committee. It is a public trust and its accounts are audited annually.
And you have to understand that in this kind of things, as much as resources are important, the time of the trustees and the individuals involved is equally as important, because you have to go through the detail. If you do build facilities for charitable purposes, you have to see the sustainability.
Capacity building is a priority.
We've done a lot of incubations for many other organizations, from All Pakistan Handicap Association to Senior Citizen Societies. And right now you have the Pakistan Women's Lawyers Association. So you do have incubations here. And then they go on their own, and then they create their own capacity buildings. But this is what the whole thing is all about, really.
In future, we intend to have a technical center and a teachers training center. Technical training center, we will produce skilled persons for our country and for abroad also. Whereas in the teachers training center, we will have good teachers who are not in the schools. We will prepare the teachers for the schools and then train them, that is in service training also. Good teachers means good schools, and good schools means good students.
If it's worth doing, no task is too big or too small for the trust. From turning around a centre in Nanakwara in Old Karachi to building a state-of-the-art neurosurgery complex at the Jinnah Hospital. Other community centres now provide vocational education in Hyderabad and Quetta. And there are affiliate trusts in Pakistan and abroad.
Now the men also are coming in, you see, so many things for the men also. Yeah, but originally it was meant for women, only women, because they have nobody to help them. They get lost in the world. They have nothing else to do. So that's why my husband started these classes where women to go further and to show to the men that they are workers and they can work.
Of course, this concept has been replicated in many places, and the most amazing part of the replication is that many of the ladies who have obtained the education here in vocational training have then gone on and set up their own institutions.
A multiplier effect is set in motion by the vocational trainees once they come into their own and set up their own practice. And the communities where these informal centres come up also benefit from the activity driven by the centre's needs.
Once Mr. Rangoonwala told me that, Sayyid, the money you are spending is God's money. Take care. And we really take care of it. We make it sure that whatever we are spending is spent in the right place.
The motto of the Trust is service to humanity, and in keeping with the motto, it lends a helping hand wherever it is most needed.